Thank you. Yeah, I'm Sean. Thanks for having me. It's really interesting to have these, to walk in. I already felt that sort of recognised and understood. The word melancholy is everywhere, and that just makes me feel right at home. So, yeah. So in the past, I've kind of prepared presentations a lot, and whenever I prepare, I end up fucking it up a bit. So I'm just going to try and be conversational, and if anyone wants to jump in, please do. Where is Safe? He's there. I'm supposed to wink at someone. Okay. Oh, you're there. Oh, shit. Okay. Hi. The first introduction I'd like to do is the next slide. In the middle of lockdown, I had an idea to do a kind of Venn diagram poem, which took three sort of fundamental parts of my identity and see how they overlapped. And I really recommend that you do this at home because it was quite a fun exercise. So I've got Scottish, Catholic family, and gay. Three things that I really had no decision or choice over. Scottish and Catholic family overlaps to create alcoholic family, of course, because the Catholics and the Scots love to drink. That's how they survive their misery. Catholic family and gay, I think, has resulted in me being drawn to suffering, waiting for a man to come, and incredible style, as you can see. Scottish and gay, I think, has led to some escapist fantasies, laughing at own and others' misfortune, and a sense of rebellion. So yeah, I really recommend you try that. And in the middle we have, I think, poetry. I think that's where was my first love, and I was quite nervous to come to a think tank because that sounds. When I think think tank, I just think Washington D.C. and the White House, and I was like, what am I going to do here? But I think every piece of work that an artist makes is like a little tank or like a crucible for to really explore an idea to its fullest sense, you know. And it's Talia. You spoke last. Talia said that you said something really nice, that every act of violence starts with language, and also every act of love starts with language. And to me, poetry is almost the most accurate way to depict something. And it speaks to me the most. So, yeah, I want to share with you some poetry, some films I've made, and some songs as well, which inevitably came from the poetry. And yeah, I'm really interested in the shadow self and this tension between the back of the brain, which is sort of animalistic and unconscious and based on instinct and survival, and the conscious brain, which is not so concerned with survival. It just wants to expand and to live. And that tension, I think, is what makes us as humans so fascinating and so conflicted. And recently I was walking my family's dog, and the whole time the dog was like pulling me along, and it struck me how much that relationship was like my own relationship with my unconscious brain. I feel like I'm always getting like pulled along by this little puppy, and I should really be the one doing the walking, you know? I think the consciousness should lead, and when you allow the unconscious to take over too much, you end up with conflict and war, and a lot of great things as well. But yeah, this relationship between the two is something I think we're all constantly negotiating, and that's kind of what I think I'll explore. The next slide, please. This is not the house I grew up in, but it very looks like the house I grew up in, and this material you probably have here as well, yeah. We call it rough cast or pebble dash. And this was all around me when I was young, and it was kind of the antithesis to what I felt inside. To me, it's very masculine and rough and ugly, and I used to try and kick all this pebbles off when I was young, and hoping that eventually I would be able to wipe the house clean. But there was infinite amount of stones, and to me that's kind of like the material of trauma and shame. You can constantly try and kick it off, but there's always more, and you're never going to be. I really think that we're never going to be healed or fixed after trauma. That might be sound quite a cynical statement, but actually I think that that trying to fix yourself and trying to be cured creates most of the pain, and actually accepting that you have a large amount of pain and darkness and shadows, and negotiating that relationship is, I think, the way to go, instead of trying to constantly medicate and fix yourself, you know. So I just wanted to start with a little song. People always complain they have no idea what I'm saying when I sing, so I put the text up for you. So for 2 years I was messaging this guy on Instagram who lived in Italy, and you know, when you haven't met someone, you fall in love with the idea and the fantasy of them, and then suddenly he just went really quiet, and I assumed that he met someone else in Europe. And I was really interested in this idea of Europe as this mainland of love and culture and art, and Britain as this really sad, miserable, cake-eating, depressed, alcoholic island, like at the other end of the sea. And I really liked putting these two ideas together, you know, that some of us feel like love is not available to us, perhaps because it's always happening somewhere else and we feel isolated. I'm very happy to be in Europe. Thank you for having me. Britain is a fucking mess. But yeah, I'll play this song for you and I hope you like it. It's loading. You've seen a divorce. Oh, poor boy, that must have hurt. Keep out my doors, or you'll see far worse. You're quiet these days. I always knew I'd never see those galleries that you gatekeep. We slashed their feet of dollies, Jesus. Oh, European mind, European mind. Did you find someone in the midline? Did you find someone in the midline? Oh, did you have an accident that wasn't your fault? 'Cause I did. It's called pretend. Every morning you want the match. I used to kick it the rough cast. A slow genocide of the Pebble Dash. But there's more rough cast than time itself, it seems. Oh, oh, dreams high, but you find someone in the middle. Did you find someone in the middle? Fuck, I always fuck this bit up. Did you find someone in the midland of love? Who put the sea between love and me? Who put the sea between love and me? Thank you. Yes, that I guess was about a sort of internal violence about love, but I want to jump back to Time for Love, which was mentioned earlier. I'm going to switch mics. Time for Love was a poem that I wrote about some experiences of homophobia in Glasgow. I was really young and quite naive. I hadn't ever experienced homophobia in public. And I was kissing my first boyfriend, and a woman ran up to us and she said, "I've got nothing against gays, but you have to do it in front of my kids." And she ran away immediately without giving me the chance to respond. And I guess I had a lot of anger about that, and I didn't know where to put that anger. And eventually I was able to write it all down. And because of my background in filmmaking, I wanted to try and bring out the text visually, and I made this film, which I want to show you now. It's from 4 years ago, so I'm going to pretend that I don't look... I hate listening to my own voice, so I'm going to sit here like this, and hopefully you'll enjoy.
It's Glasgow, March, and we walk hand in hand in the park. Now it's 3:13 and I'm late, and it's time I make a choice. We're both boys, you see. If you were to go back and look, you'd see 100 eyes hurry to objectify this hand-in-hand stance. It's a flurried dance of reaction. Some smile, they're proud and they want me to know, but there's a darker shade of brow that balances the books. The kind of look that challenges, like this is some chess game and I'm in check and I'm second guessing what they might do next. Point me out to all the pawns in the crowd. Spawn a following whose glowers linger on so that our hands are no longer holding, but dragging glare after glare, snowballing stares, stretching elastic social disgrace through this forbidden space, and the scales are well and truly tipped. Now it's 3:14, Glasgow, March 2018, and I have to make a choice. Have you ever wondered how to say goodbye, to a friend's mum? Do you go in for a kiss on the cheek? To a colleague, neighbour, do you hug them or shrug them off? What if that neighbour is your lover? What if there's no other way to say goodbye than the one you know will send outcry burning through the matchstick men and women who love to strike up ideals? I'm a walking meal for the mouths of normality. What does that mean, exactly? We're normal, he says with his frown, but under his wife's dress and flesh is an unborn baby, blessed with one more hour of air, before she miscarries and they carry that grief with them to the grave, and they're not normal anymore. They're changed and aching. And that old man, I make him sick, but he writes to Japan at the weekend to get a friend to send the used knickers he can vend from a machine there for completely normal purposes, of course. See, normality is a crowdsourced fantasy, but it turns every single silent person in this park into an enemy. Teenage boys blunder ahead. How much thunder are they carrying in their heads? They should probably be at school, drawing straight lines, sprinting in straight lines, thinking in straight lines, and when the bell rings, it's no wonder they want to straighten out anything that curves or bends. Or her, with the rolling chips and the kids, she'd take one salty glance at two guys kissing, be hissing vinegar. Or way, I've got nothing against gays, she'd say, but you have to do it in front of my kids. And she runs away. They never do stay long enough to look you in the eyes. In a Bible basher rehashing lies about Jesus, like how Poundland rip off mini cheddars and sell them on as cheese savouries, because it seems to me like Jesus saved a lot of time when he died for all our crimes that he would have wasted teaching small minds that love is no sin. See him, he thinks it's faith, but under all that din, it tastes like cardboard and it smells like hate. And I may sound angry, but I'm just scared because in the midst of this and that, there's one person I'm not looking at. Because a face looks different in the daylight than in the night, where at least there's no one staring. You're always wearing worry lines and looking at the time, because the last train home is always waiting. Because this should be a small choice, and there's all this noise in my head. I should be holding a hand, and I'm holding shame instead. But I'm letting go. No, I won't keep weighing it up. I'll put my muscles at ease. And they're 30% of my mass, by the way. I'm a Homo sapien. Elbows, knees, 60% water flooding, 7% blood rushing, and 0.5% beating heart. So why is a goodbye kiss no walk in the park? 0.5% doesn't sound like much, but it's enough. It's 3:15, Glasgow, March 2018 after all. You'd think it was just about time for love.
Yeah, thanks for watching that. Thank you. So that was really, filmmaking is really difficult, especially with no budget, and it was really hard to make that, and it was the first time I really received recognition for a film, which really felt amazing. I think within an hour I had like 1 million views, and if you go to the next slide, the response was pretty phenomenal. It was kind of split into two. There was people saying this is exactly what I've experienced, exactly what I've felt, and they shared their own experiences. And then there was the other side of people that are like, what are you complaining about? There's no problem anymore. And then if you see this one here, this was the most exciting part of the whole experience to me. BBC boss to meet church leaders over offensive film. So if you go to the next slide, bigotry row as BBC is accused of airing anti-Catholic video. And I really like the deer here. Over 100 Catholics complained. It was the most complained about digital piece of content that BBC Scotland has ever had. And actually, though, I also had a lot of Catholics reach out to me, and a priest included, to say that they completely disagreed with all of the people that were complaining. And it was a really interesting discussion, I think, that was even happening within the Catholic community. To me, I was never attacking Catholic beliefs, but more the way that Jesus is used to justify messages that I think are actually fundamentally anti-Catholic. So all I could say is that I was raised Catholic, and this was my experience. And I just want to tell you a quick story about when I was at school. we were visited by some Franciscan friars from America, and they sort of, I guess, they were trying to rebrand Catholicism, because in a Catholic school in Scotland, it's very boring. It's just boring hymns, droning on. But these guys came from America, and they were like, it was like happy music, and they had these cool accents, and like we all got very excited. But then they gathered everyone in the school and in an auditorium like this, and all of the people sat on the chairs, and they played some sort of spiritual music, and they all sat at the other end of the hall, and they just waited for us to come down one by one and confess. And we were all very unsure at first. No one really wanted to go down. But one by one, there was a trickle of people. They would just come, sit, confess, and everyone was on the other side watching this happen. And one by one, we became more and more, everyone became kind of desperate to get involved in what was happening down here. And I just sat there looking at this absolution that was taking place, and it was such an alluring, attractive feeling. And I desperately tried to think of some sins. I was like, what have I done that I can confess? And I hadn't done anything because I was like 12, 11. So I just invented some so that I could go down and confess my imaginary sins. And even like the school bullies were going, and they were crying, and the bullies were running to the toilet, and everyone, it was like this hysteria that came over everyone. It was really fascinating, and I think that just proves that I think we all had inside of us a kind of a shame or a guilt over something, even though we hadn't done anything wrong, that we wanted absolved. And I think that's the real power of these systems, that they give us an escape from our shame and our guilt. And I think that, as much as I've sort of left religion behind, that feeling of wanting to be absolved has very much entered into my relationships. And almost in a way, I think that I expect my partners to be a kind of God that will absolve me of my sins. And to go into love with that expectation of someone is a really dangerous thing, I think, for both of you. So this is a song that I wrote about that, but I tried to put a rebellious spin on it. And I used to sing in the choir, and I really want to make music that takes the voice of the choir boy, but turns it against the choir and investigates the systems of abuse with kind of a hymn, like a rock and roll hymn. I don't have a band with me today, I just have the piano. Usually it would be a bit more rock and roll with some drums and guitars, but yeah, this is called Quit the Choir. I'm just going to have some water before I start. How are we for time? I know that I'm rambling, sorry. We good? Oh, cool. I'll try not mess this one up. I'm sorry. Oh, great. Cool. I'm going to be here forever. Can't wait for the day I can go, sing along if you know it. But no one knows it. So, is this, I can't really hear myself. Can I hear myself a little bit more on the mic? Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. Didn't want to miss out on confession, so I invented some transgressions. Growing up on it, bruising, chasing the rush of absolution. Are you sure you want me in your kingdom? haunted by priests in toilets. Never thought I was wanted by neon halo nightclub boys. And are you sure you want me in your kingdom? Can you love the edge you cling to? Abuse it sings, it keeps on ringing. Aren't you so used to it? Can you see through it? Through it. So I quit the choir that can be so quiet. I quit the choir, maybe I was fired. Quit the choir to keep you so quiet. Quit the choir, get ready for the fire. So long a victim to love's forgiveness we lay, weeping for sunrise. Spirits of the submitting just for some heaven. But my love, you never let me in. That's why I'm quitting. Thank you. I hope I'm not overloading you with melancholy. It's not my intention, but I'm nearly done now. But that film had a lot of my past experiences in it, and I think talking about this tension between the consciousness and the unconscious, I think love is the thing that actually unites them both. They're both really interested in love, and they can get behind that together, you know. And I think when you have a history of trauma or violence, it can become very difficult to love, because you're so concerned with protecting yourself, and it's hard to open up. So finally, I just want to do a final song called Shadowboxing. I'm sure you know what shadowboxing is. It's when the boxers fight the invisible enemy. But I was thinking of love as a boxing ring, because it's very easy when you're single to hide, keep a lot of secrets from yourself. But when you fall in love, it's like this floodlight comes on, and suddenly everyone can see all of the things that you're trying to keep secret. So I guess shadowboxing, I see, is the work that you do while you're out of love to prepare yourself to be in the ring. And it's an ongoing process of healing. And yeah, I'll just play it for you. And that will be that. contains the ocean. It's deafening in its ferocious, takes a monster to control it. Till I'm ready to go, I'll be boxing shadows till I'm back in love's ring. I'll be shadow boxing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I could explain, I can't see my enemy, he only shows his face when I'm blinded by love's grace. It's too hard in the waiting room, I can't see my enemy, but he wakes me every, wakes me every, wakes me every, wakes me every afternoon. And Lord, you went a little quiet, so I looked into the science, could write a thesis on my grief, but don't think anyone would read it. You better lawyer up, you demon, we need to come to an agreement. See, when love next comes around, I won't let it down till I'm ready to go. I'll be boxing shadows till I'm back in love's ring. I'll be shadow boxing till I'm ready to go. I'll be boxing shadows till I'm back in love's ring. I'll be shadow boxing, shadow boxing, shadow boxing, shadow boxing. Ooh, ooh, Thank you so much. Good. Really appreciate you coming here, and these are a lot of ideas and things that I haven't really had the chance to share so much. So, yeah, thank you so much. I hope you won't be too sad. And yeah, if you want to have a chat, that's fine. And yeah, I really wish you luck with your shadow selves. I think throughout the day we'll be able to discuss that more and come up with the solutions. But yeah, I just hope that everyone can lay down their guards and that we can all create space to connect and love. Thank you.